Hey there, meteorologist Aaron Tuttle with you on a Friday night, as Lord England would say in the big town. So we're going to talk about your threat of severe weather as we head into our weekend and also into early next week. So thanks for joining me and for sharing the page and liking the page and telling your friends and family about me and all that kind of stuff. And so what we'll do is talk into the latest computer model data. It's just now coming in, so I've had like this much time to analyze it. So some of us will be analyzed on the fly, and that's typically why this takes a little bit longer. For my Facebook Live lunches, it's well past the model time, so I've always had plenty of time just to look at it real quick. So I just give you a brief summary in those cases. Here, unfortunately, I have to kind of do it as it comes in, so that's why it takes, sometimes it can be 20 minutes or more before I wrap up. But, in that same time, you get to get educated on what I'm looking at, and then I explain to you what I'm looking at, and that way you'll understand more about what's happening and why. So it's a little different take that I think a lot of you folks have enjoyed. Well, let's go ahead and do what I do, and that is get into the model data. And then at the end, if there's any time left, I'll answer a few of your questions. But of course, hopefully my plan is to answer all your questions ahead of time in the overall picture of things. So real quick, if you don't have it, download my free weather app, AT's Weather to Go. It'll alert you of developing tornadoes before they occur. Give you about an extra 15 minutes to seek shelter. So that can end up saving your life. So make sure you try that out. There's a blog post on my website which shows you how to do your own storm tracks with it. So you can actually see what's in the storm, time of arrival, all that stuff. Vital information when you can't get it anywhere else and you need it right then, right there. I suggest give it a try. Okay, that's on Apple and Google Play. All right, let's get on to the stuff here for tonight. First thing I want to do is tell you, a lot of times you'll hear me talk about a cap. A cap is an inversion layer in the atmosphere of warm air. This is a sounding, and normally, this is the red line, temperatures cool with height. So as you go up with height, as it goes more left, that means temperatures are getting colder. Now, where you see it gets warmer is right here, at what we call about 725 millibars. It's these caps that prevent thunderstorms from rising. Because let's say you're in a balloon right down here and you want to take the ride here on the easy train up into the atmosphere. So you want to ride this level right here. Well, guess what? You can't ride right there because you got a stopgap here and it prevents you from bubbling up past this point, and that's why we don't get storms. So sometimes these caps are just strong enough to keep most of them from going up, but then allow one or two. So that's kind of what we're going to look for tomorrow afternoon and evening hours across west central Oklahoma. And so kind of want to set the stage to understand that why it won't be a big outbreak of any storms, but I think in this particular case, the cap will weaken as energy comes in from the west, and we're going to show you that. Meanwhile, the Storm Prediction Center does have, put the probably categorical list on here. It shows the bulk of the severe weather for the, let's call it the mid-morning through afternoon and evening, down this area here for the enhanced. And they may moderate and tweak this here overnight as we head into our Saturday. But you don't see on the map here is just kind of looks like just a slight risk here for west central Oklahoma and even here in Oklahoma City. But if you look at the hatched area, they kind of snuck one in here. And that's this guy right here. It's a conditional hatched area where, well, you know what? If something happens late afternoon, evening, these storms will be pretty bad. So that's what that little hatched area means. And what would happen in there is some large hail, damaging winds, and probably a couple of tornadoes. So let's talk about that action and get you acclimated here to what's going to happen. First thing I want to do, let's see here. Let's show you the big picture so you can understand what's coming in and why, and I'm going to show you the really hyper-local type scenario. All right, so we're going to go look at the NAM model, which shows a big round of heavy rainfall moving into the state. This is for tomorrow morning, moving from basically kind of a southwest to northeast during the day, heading on into Arkansas for late afternoon in northwest Arkansas and down to eastern Texas as well. By the way, moving through the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it probably looks like around lunchtime. So just kind of keep your eye out down there for severe weather. And then lingering storms up here across Kansas for Saturday night. Everything kind of moves on out. We quiet down. And then as we head into Sunday, looks good. And Monday, this is where Monday is right here. We've got new storms to talk about and develop. Probably out here in the Texas Panhandle, and models are trying to form stuff here in northwest Oklahoma. Right now, models are having a really hard time on Monday. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on Monday. It's beyond the 48-hour window. All I can tell you is there will be some severe weather across the state on Monday. There'll probably be some flash flooding as well, and we'll detail that more tomorrow evening since we'll be in that 48-hour window, and we'll look at the tornado threat at that point in time, where the most likely areas is for that. Okay, so back here on the condition for tomorrow, we got this. You've heard it before. If we usually have these big rounds that what we call MCSs move through, it squashes the atmosphere for anything later in the day, and that's technically true in this case with one tiny exception. You notice western Oklahoma doesn't really get anything, and as this system moves off into eastern Oklahoma, let's see, here's 7 o'clock in the evening. It's already out here into the eastern third of the state. So that allows this area right here to try to destabilize again at the last minute. So the big question is, can it just in time? And we have a window seriously this narrow. I'm going to show you that window. First off, in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we need a good, what we call a speed max here at 500 millibars. Well, guess what? We've got that for us. So that's check ingredient number 1 for severe weather here over central Oklahoma. We need a lift. We need a kicker. We need some upper level energy coming in. And same level here, and we've got our upper level low centered over here over southwestern Kansas, and the energy kicking through associated with it's all the bright colors moving right across central Oklahoma by, you guessed it, tomorrow evening. So we've got a couple things going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere that's going to be in favor of trying to break that cap and then produce some storms. Here's the other issue, is the moisture. So what happens is when you get this big cluster that moves in tonight, these are all dew point values. The purple is the real good, deep, I can't breathe, type moisture out there. Well, it's in Texas, because look what happens here in central Oklahoma. With that MCS, you get dry air on the backside of it, and that kind of dries things out. It's called subsidence. So watch what happens, though, as we head from the lunchtime hour on Saturday into the 7 o'clock hour. You see what just happened here? This little guy nudged right in here, just right into the metro area, then points south along I-35. So when I say there's a corridor this big, it literally is that big, and the timing is literally that much as far as making something happen. The theta E axis is where we see the warm, moist, unstable air come in. Again, you can see how the pink is the worst stuff you don't want to be in, and the yellow is hey, everything's cool. So once we head into, again, the 7 o'clock hour, look what happens. That little pink area comes right back up I-35 corridor and hangs out right here in parts of southwest Oklahoma. This is going to be just probably east of the Lawton area. So according to this model, the best parameters are starting to set up for severe storms for the late afternoon and evening hours over southwestern and south central Oklahoma, with just barely right here in Oklahoma City Metro. Here is a look at what they call the significant tornado parameter. And same principle, same idea, with all those parameters rushing in here at the last minute. This is the hot spot, the most favored area for tornadoes should, again, key word here, should these supercell storms develop. Because again, most models don't develop them. However, I still think they will break out. I'm going to show you. I did find a couple of models that will do it, and I like their output as far as what I think can happen. So we'll get to that here in just a second, so hang on. But I just want to show you the setup, show you the location of where the most likely area for tornadoes are going to be, and the timing. So you've got all that down, and you know exactly what to expect. I can show you some other stuff on here, but it's going to kind of bore you, and I don't need to show you everything, just kind of give enough to give you the big picture of what you can expect. Also, that little risk of tornadic activity will shift east in the evening hours out here into southeastern Oklahoma up to about 9 o'clock, and then after that it kind of diminishes. So the window of opportunity isn't going to last forever for tornadoes, but it will be there for at least a little bit, and it does include Oklahoma City. Right now, the favorite area would be on the south end of Oklahoma City, southward, down toward the Red River. That's the most likely location, the way things look right now in tonight's model data. Okay, but now we're going to look at the high-resolution version of the same model, so I can show you kind of what the rain output looks like. So it goes to town with rain after midnight tonight, just develops it everywhere over central and northeast Oklahoma. So again, tomorrow morning, I was hoping for rain to kind of hold off for the Tulsa area for you guys in the early morning hours, maybe some garage sales or something, but that's so hard to make that call because right now the models are wet, and I hate to go against what looks like a done deal. So just, you're going to know well in advance when you wake up in the morning. Check radar trends. If it's already obviously knocking on your door, then you're done. If you see it down in Oklahoma City, you got a couple hours to squeeze something in, great. In Oklahoma City, we should already be wet before you wake up, so it's not a big deal there. Now, you can see the storms out there continue through Saturday about, let's call it 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Then after that, the bulk of the activity moves off to the east. So if you have anything to do here in Oklahoma City, by the time we hit about 11 o'clock in the morning, the rain should be over with, and we'll get a period of some dry weather Now, this is where things get interesting here for the afternoon. This is at 6 o'clock. And you do see, of course, some storms up here up to the northwest. But y'all see these guys are right down here back building into Texas. And these are the ones that have my attention as far as being potential to be tornadic. Now, if you look at the model, it diminishes them almost as quickly as it starts. So we go 1 hour to 7 o'clock. What happened? They all died. So remember, as this is a favorable area right here, but once it moves east, it's running into this rain-cooled subsidence in this region. So they will have a tendency to weaken with time, and they may not even last, that long. So it could be a short-lived event for a very small area, but it would be a potent, area as far as hail and that kind of stuff. Northern Oklahoma, you guys will get some rough thunderstorms in your area, for the, let's call it the 6 to 8 o'clock hour. So keep that in mind as well. So we want to look at the soundings in this area, and I went ahead and plotted one just to show you that the shear is adequate as far as producing a tornado. So the speeds are good, the direction is there, the LCLs are low, which means the cloud bases are very low, Cape values in the 3000s, plenty of instability, no cap, classic supercell look to it. So it's not a perfect situation for tornadoes, but it's got enough parameters there to where I think that is a possibility. So that's why I'm saying it's not like an outbreak or anything in the model data, but it is significant enough to where that's what the forecast will call for. Now, this is what I talked about. I'd find a model that would produce it because I like the idea of getting at least a couple of cells to develop. So we're going to look at the tech model. So this has that round of rain and storms moving through in the morning that moves off to the east, and then here in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you can see a couple of these thunderstorms try to bubble up here out to the west. It's got the stronger, more intense storm in south central Oklahoma. This is again, way down south as far as the Oklahoma City metro is concerned. About halfway between us and the Red River is where this particular favored area is for this one storm. But don't get sold off of an output from one model on the one exact location. It's not the way it works. They're not that good. But what the take home here is that there are going to be a couple of supercell storms, and yes, they have these little red lines with them, which is basically helicity tracks, which is spinning, or the updraft rotation characteristics. Now that can either mean large hail, because you need a good strong mesocyclone to produce large hail with a supercell, or it can also sometimes mean a tornado in that situation. So we have the potential for both tomorrow. So this can highlights the fact that it's not a big widespread event. It's going to be just a couple of storms most likely, but they will have that potential, and they will be moving through Oklahoma City. This picture, actually, this model actually moves them in a little earlier than the other models, which were right around 6 o'clock, and this one moves it in as early as 5 o'clock. So we might have to split hairs here, but it's going to be sometime after that, roughly 4:30 to 5 o'clock hour for the window to open up, and it's a short window at that. Okay, so let's look at that one. Let's see. I wanted to show you. Let's see if this is updated yet. Okay, good. It's got a few more hours to go. This will be an interesting model to look at when it's done. So I may tap dance for you for a little bit until it's finished. By the way, the threat for severe weather, we can look at analogs, which takes a look at nearly identical setups in the atmosphere, and then how things went in the past, and then they kind of correlate that to the current. And it's got a significant round of severe weather across the southern plains here for Saturday, and then this one here is for Monday. So those are our two big severe weather days in this panel. So just kind of throwing that out there for you, that in history, when we look at that kind of stuff, there's a precedent for that. Okay, so this is the other model I want to show you. Now what's funny is, this one I never take serious, and for the first time tonight I'm actually going to say, okay, well, it's somewhat possible. So this does have a couple of those storms breaking out here southwest of the metro, and this is actually by 5 o'clock here. This is 6 o'clock here southwest of Oklahoma City, and then here at 7 o'clock moving into but falling apart in Oklahoma City, and then diminishing. So the take home here is that it's I mean, we're talking Highway 81 roughly to 35, and that's the window to where things kind of start out strong and then weaken as they get to that boundary. So we'll have to see if that's exactly how things play out. Northern Oklahoma, there's that signal again for some strong storms there. Some of these other high resolution models that we look at, these are what we call CAM models, which are designed to kind of look for severe storms. Let's see if any of these other ones do anything. So there's northern Oklahoma, late afternoon. Let's see, those move across northern Oklahoma, doesn't do anything in the south. You're going, why is it doing northern Oklahoma and not southern? Well, that's because the cap up there, it'll be a little bit weaker because it's stronger to the upper level core of the storm system, and there's colder temperatures aloft. So it kind of erodes the cap very easy in that area. Okay, so here's another one of those. We got 3 of these to pick from, and it doesn't produce any storms down there either. So, like I said, we got half of the models producing storms, the other half are not. The signal's there. I showed you all the other instability factors and the other lifting mechanisms, which I still think are enough to produce at least a couple of isolated supercells. So again, that's my forecast officially coming into from southwest Oklahoma to central Oklahoma and south central Oklahoma from that 4 o'clock to basically 8 o'clock window. So large hail, damaging winds, and then probably a couple of tornadoes with those. And I'll be broadcasting live should that occur. So I'll be watching things obviously very carefully with that. Okay, what else did I want to show you? It was probably this guy. So what happens is I like to look at the ensemble viewer because sometimes you can tell more information and get a better picture versus just one individual model, and especially when it comes to certain parameters. Let's see, and we'll have to wait and see. And this is not going to come in time. Let's see, I've got another 4 hours to go, so we'll see. I'll answer a few questions and I'll check them before I leave. It's just like another little status check for me, but it's not going to be any. It's not going to tell me anything new that I haven't already told you or change my forecast any. What can I do at this point? Let's do this. So I plotted that one sounding. That was for the kind of the Oklahoma City area off the other model. Let me just take a look at how things look out ahead of this line for this model. Just a real quick snapshot. And this is going to be in south central Oklahoma, south of the metro. So its indication is for a weak tornado. Shear's there. It actually still has a pretty good capping layer right here. So that is also part of the reason why the model has these storms die as they move into this area. So how we can explain that to you better is if I go back an hour to, let's go here. And let's see what the sounding looks like ahead of the storm just as they're starting to kind of bubble up. Just curious, because again, I have to do this all on the fly. So it has a little bit of tiny capping version here as well. So there's another reason why the models are only showing just a couple of storms versus a whole bunch of them, because it still has a weak cap. So what it's saying is the cap will break in a couple of areas in that favored region because of the brute forcing in the upper levels as the storm system moves in, but not enough to completely erode the inversion where a ton of storms develop. So that's what we want. We don't want a ton of storms out there. We can handle just 1 or 2, so we'll see how that goes. So if you have plans here in Oklahoma City, like I said, through about 4 o'clock, you're fine. Once we get to about 5 o'clock to the 8 o'clock window, that's where our chance of a supercell storm will be working through, and we would have to watch for a potential tornado with that. The atmosphere would be favorable at that point in time. Monday, I really don't want to do this, but we'll do it. I have to go back to this other model real quick because it's still early, but I haven't looked, and so I'm just going to look with you, and we'll see what the atmosphere looks like here in central Oklahoma. So, and I'll tell you why. There's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of, storm chasers will blow up the internet, of course, with severe weather Armageddon speak, and then some of your local TV guys will, and behind the scenes, we're all looking at it going, "Ooh, that looks impressive." Kind of the point is, how do you communicate that without causing panic? Because we know things can change and change quite a bit. But I need to tell you the reason why Monday doesn't look good, and when I say don't look good, it means it looks favorable for a lot of severe weather, is because the shear is stupid, ridiculous. It is not only strong speed shear, but it's very strong and directional shear as well. And so because of that overly strong, we're talking 50 knots from just about a couple thousand feet off the ground all the way up to 70 knots or so. So that's a lot of wind to help spin any storm structure that develops. So on top of that, it causes the algorithms to trip what we call a PDS tornado. So a PDS tornado is basically means a particularly dangerous situation. The reason why it does that is because, let me roll this up here. These indices that it triggers on, which is a probability of an EF2 or stronger given a strong supercell, are all maxed out. All these individual things such as CAPE, the level of the convection where it starts, in other words the cloud base down low, the rotation characteristics in the environment, what we call the significant tornado parameter, all that kind of stuff. So they're all in purple in this particular case, and purple is not where you want to be. And what it does is then it draws a line up here. Well, the line can go from here all the way up, and once it gets all the way up, it's in the EF4 to EF5 category. So that's why you're hearing so much talk of just everybody freaking out, because the model indices are off the charts as far as potential tornadoes on Monday, just because of the way the environment looks. And so this is where I have to caution you. This kind of stuff, although not this extreme typically, but there's a lot that come in that looks good like this, 4 days out, 3 days out, 2 days out, and all of a sudden a day out and the day of, it's nowhere near what it looked like before. So that's why I want to caution you on getting too worked up when you hear all these accounts, because this will change. Either the wind speeds will change, either in speed and or direction. They won't be nearly as favorable. Some of these indices will actually come down. We might get rain in the morning hours again, which messes up the atmosphere. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong for this, and that's why I don't want to spend too much time on Monday, but I'll let you know that is what is in the cards as far as severe weather potentials. Not only tornadoes, but also some heavy rainfall and probably some flash flooding too. And this extends even out toward the Texas Panhandle. So the favorite area right now, basically something like this for Monday afternoon, and then evening, and then overnight, and then from that point forward, everything will be moving east. So that's kind of how things evolve for Monday. All right, let me go back to this guy here, see if it's updated anymore. Oh, it still hasn't. It's still stuck. What a loser. Come on, update for me, buddy. You can do it. Okay, there we go. We got something in. That's 21, 22. Okay, so what I'm looking for is, in the ensemble run, is verification of my thought process of getting a couple of storms developing here in southwest Oklahoma. And it's trying to do it. So that is what I was looking for. It's just more of a confidence factor for me. But it's still trickling in, so we're not going to have enough time to look at it all. But I've already given you the forecast of what I think is going to happen, so that's kind of what I got for you. Okay, so let me pull up y'all's Facebook comments. And remember that I can't see your comments while I'm doing this stuff live. You'll have to hold your questions, if you have any, until after when I'm done. And then from that point, I can answer a couple of your questions that you have. First place I'll go is my patrons, and then we'll see what if you guys had anything to say. By the way, in the past, some of these broadcasts, you guys have said, hey, your video's fuzzy or whatever. When you watch this, you have a gear icon on your phone or your computer where you can change your resolution to a higher resolution. Plus, sometimes it's also automatic, depending on your internet speed or your cell phone tower speed or whatever, 4G, 3G, all that kind of stuff. Even YouTube, I'm broadcasting simultaneously on YouTube. It'll automatically feed you what you're capable of receiving. So a lot of times when doing severe weather coverage or something like this and things look a little fuzzy, it's because your resolution is too low. So you can see if you can't fix it on your end, because everything I broadcast out is 720p, but that doesn't mean you're going to be able to get it at HD levels, if that makes sense to you. Okay, so skimming through the questions here real quick. Some funny comments as always. Let's see. Nice. So my boy Chad is Friday night, and I'm sitting here watching on my iPhone from my recliner. Hashtag old man. Old man, you get out there and chase tomorrow. Come on now. Like old times. We should do it. I'll bail here. I'll just join you. Just come pick me up. So Chad was my chasing partner way back from Channel 5 days, and we'd go out there and, stare at clouds. Sometimes stare at the sunset. Let's see. When he said South Central Oklahoma, did he mean morning, Lauren? So storms all over central, southern, northeastern Oklahoma in the morning hours. Those should be, knock on wood, below severe weather limits. It'll be very close. So hail and wind be the main issue. I guess a freak tornado could happen, but we're talking mainly just hail and wind with that. I'm going to get up early just to watch just in case, but I don't anticipate anything crazy. Again, the window I think is for the late afternoon and evening. Kimberly downloaded my weather app. Awesome. Appreciate you. Let's see. Just coming through. So Lauren is asking a ton of meteorological questions. Lauren, you just need to go to school, sister. So the SIN is what you would kind of consider the cap. So if you have a SIN of minus 50 or less, it's breakable. If you have a SIN that's greater than, in other words, more negative than minus 50, the more you get away from the actual word, the number 50, like closer to 100, it becomes unbreakable. So hope that answers your question. Okay, and then back on my main page, so again, I'm broadcasting live dual, just so you guys know, so that's why I answer both streams here. And I know you guys on YouTube are also like chatting away too. So I don't know if I can read y'all's comments. Let me go down there and see. So Brandon's on there. He's talking to himself. So he's asking me how the rain will affect the outcome. So yeah, it's a good thing to have all those storms that come in the morning, because it's really going to help to limit what's going to happen in the afternoon and evening. So anytime that happens, that's 9 times out of 10 a good thing, especially for us. Okay, so let me scroll through here real quick. It's 10 o'clock. Man, I'd say it's time to go to bed for work tomorrow, but we don't have to do that. So I can hang on here a little bit, right? Adam wants a quick recap. Oh, good grief. Let's see. You talk about late to the party. This thing's been going on for almost 30 minutes. Man, has it been 30 minutes already? See, I told you, I get a little long-winded. But there's a lot to talk about. Let's see. Okay, I got as far up as I could, and there was a lot of comments, but no questions. Let's see. And I just missed the last one I was going to answer because it scrolled through. Oh, well. All right, if I missed a question and you want to ask it real quick, shoot it at me. I'll hang on here for a couple minutes. I'm going to look at that other map again while I wait. Give you guys a second. Oh, it's still not updating. You gotta be kidding me. It's so lame. Alright, let's try this. Ooh, that one's updated. Good. Well, good for me, not good for you. You're like, what does that mean? Well, it just means that my forecast looks like it's going to hold up for tomorrow afternoon and evening with some storms coming in. So the atmosphere, in other words, destabilizes in that little small brief window and location. Okay. I could show you this. I've actually already showed it to you on a different map. Let's do this. So, this is a significant tornado parameter. And the reason I'm showing you this is this is was this 5 o'clock? Yeah, so this is 5 o'clock. And it just shows that the parameters here are returning to the I-35 corridor and points west to like Highway 81 for late tomorrow afternoon and evening. So you see that kind of goes from nothing, and then it makes a run for the border there real quick. So that's what I'm saying. It's a close call as far as getting things here just in time to produce that type of environment. So trust me, I'd rather be dealing with this than having this environment there all day long, and then just not even being a question. So you can be real thankful we get these overnight, early morning MCS events, because, like I said, once that goes through, that just completely changes things. And we have that happen a lot. And that can make any day in the future, as far as the forecast go, that looks horrible, like Monday, completely change to sunny and not a big deal for 90% of the area, just like that. So once this little signal starts to show up, forecasters usually go, uh-oh, and they start pulling everything back and go, oh, wait a minute, it's not going to be that bad anymore. Well, too late. You got everybody worked up for 4 days, 5 days or 6 days out. So congratulations. That's why it's sometimes prudent just to wait a little bit till we can start seeing more of the detailed information that we need to see to make a better forecast. So I like to do some more, as a result of that, I like to be more generic in both the wording and the outlook versus try to get too specific, because that'll burn you anytime you try to get too specific, especially dealing with tornadoes. It's never going to work out like you had planned that far out in advance. Heck, sometimes you're trying to figure it out the day of, so it's tough. Let's see. All right, let's not going past 22. What else do I want to see? Let's see if this thing's come in. Nope. Okay. I'm going to hang a couple more minutes because it's almost into I want it to go to the 7 o'clock hour. So basically I need 2 more hours of this to carry it into the metro so I can see what its output looks like. So let's just go on back to you. So could Saturday disrupt Monday? Courtney wants to know. Nope. There'll be 2 separate deals, or actually 2 separate storm systems. And we'll have Sunday in between to recover. Let's see. Esther, several are asking if you look at the Kansas tornado east of Dodge City. Sure, we can pull that up. So Diane is traveling from Oklahoma City to Nebraska via car tomorrow and back. You got a lot of mess to drive through, coming and going. Let's see. All right, so let's take a look at that Dodge City action. And we'll see what's inside the storm here. Now, the purple polygon, which is what this is, which is for the tornado warning, is colored that way when storm spotters have seen the tornado. So at least at some point, doesn't mean it's currently there, but it was confirmed visually, and usually a large and doing some damage. So this one has at 9:55 a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Offery, moving northeast at 35. Particularly dangerous situation. Take cover now. Damaging tornado. Law enforcement confirmed. Let's see. The tornado will be near Kinsley around 10:10, Lewis 10:25, Garfield and Belpre around 10:35, and Zook around 10:45. All in the next half hour. So that's for Pawnee, Stafford, and Edwards County. This is in southwestern Kansas. So this is a look at the storm system. Let's see what this looks like. Yep, there's our little tornado. I say little. I mean, the warning had large, but the velocity signature would say more of a smaller, weaker one at this point. Let's see, compared to probably what it was earlier. So let's do a marker. And it's got, right now, indications are it'd be probably an EF1 tornado. So that would be on the weaker side. Rotation tracks. Let's see if there's any debris signature. There's maybe a little bit left. No, not really. Okay, even the debris signature's gone. So that's good. So whatever had happened in this area, looks like the tornado, the stronger part of it's either lifted and or weakened to that point. But regardless, it's over the town of Kinsley is where the hail is. Let's see, what's the hail estimates? 1.5 to maybe golf ball size hail. Moving on in to the southwest side of town here in the next 10 minutes. And the tornado's passing well to the south and east and weakening quite a bit. If it's even still there, there's a circulation there, but the strength of it is quite a bit weaker. So anyway, that is the tornado warning for the storm that is east of Dodge City. There's another one way up here in Russell, Kansas, and that's moving off toward I-70. Let's see. I don't see anything on the radar for that one at this point in time. So also keep in mind, when you get tornado warnings, it doesn't always mean there's a tornado guaranteed for that. It just means either a couple of things. Either one was sighted, or a storm chaser reported a wall cloud rotating, or a funnel maybe at one point, or just by radar trends, the Weather Service says, you know what, it's getting pretty close. Let's go ahead and issue a warning in case it does. There's a lot of little variables that go into play for a tornado warning. So sometimes when we get warnings here in Oklahoma, I won't cover them if there's no threat of any tornado. Because like a lot of times they'll just let the tornado warning ride, even though what was going to cause it or what did cause it is long gone. So like an outflow boundary intersection, something like that. Just because there's no harm on letting it ride for another 20, 30 minutes. Whereas for me, if there's no danger, there's no danger. So if there's a danger, I'm going to let you know about it. If there's not a danger, I'll let you know about it, and then I won't worry about it, and then I'll keep an eye on it. So it's just a little difference there. But regardless, that's what's going on in Kansas right now. Of course, there's nothing here in Oklahoma. Okay, so let me go back to this other guy. Let's see. Okay, it's updated. Okay, so this is 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. All right, so what I am looking at are basically rotation tracks. So from like a supercell storm that rides up here across western Oklahoma, rides up to northeast, say south of Enid and up toward maybe Pawnee before it falls apart. And the secondary batch is moving along the I-44 corridor in the south sides of the Oklahoma City area, maybe Blanchard, maybe up toward Norman, something like that. But again, this is just a ensemble run of just the general placement. It's not going to be exact. But the point is it shows the close proximity of where these rotating storms would be. So not only is it saying yes, there'll be rotating storms, but the tracks will be there significant for hail and possibly a tornado. So this is basically just a verification for me for my thought process and the forecast I gave you. So I feel confident in the outcome of what's going to happen for tomorrow based off partially in this data. So that's why I was wanting to see it. It just gives me more confidence. If that makes sense. Okay, so let's see. Any other questions? Oh, so let me do, for those that are really, really late, there was a gentleman there that asked for a recap a minute ago. I don't know what kind of conversation you guys are having. Somebody's ripping on somebody about towns and street names and everything else. So I don't know what that's about. But hey, I will tell you this. When I do track those tornadoes, as far as getting really specific, excuse me, nose is itching. I mean, blow my nose. Good grief. One of those deals where when it itches, it itches. What are you going to do about it? Okay, so I will zoom in to the point to where I will put on the screen where the roads are, and I'll tell you the intersection of where it is. That's usually how zoomed in I get, and then I'll tell you the path for that, and then we'll take the radar off the map to show you what's underneath land-wise. In other words, if it's going into just trees, open land, city or town. So we try to get as detailed as we can during the tornado part of the coverage. Okay, so the question earlier was recap, because he was late to the party and didn't know what in the world was going on. So Alicia's on board with that too. People are feisty tonight. Man, I'm about to block some people. I'm about to get on there and go insta-block. Okay, so yeah, you can always replay the video, by the way. And you can always share with your friends and family so everybody can see it. You know, tonight, later, when they're getting home from the bar and they're like, hey, what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. Let's go see what AT said. You know, at least the drunkards will know what's going on. So, here's the deal. Tomorrow morning, when we wake up, there's already going to be showers and storms out there. They should be mostly below severe weather limits, but there's a chance for a little hail, a little wind. A tornado will be a freak thing, but not completely out of the question. Then that activity moves through the state from kind of southwest to northeast. So it means Tulsa's getting rain. You know, the question, the timing on Tulsa, is it going to be 7 o'clock in the morning, or is it going to be 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning? And it's I can't answer that question. I wish I could. I don't have enough clear signal to give you one or the other, but it's going to be so close. You'll know when you wake up and you see radar trend. Just open up my weather app, AT's Weather to Go. You'll see the rain, whether or not it's about to move in, or if it's still in Oklahoma City and you've got a couple hours to go do something or have a yard sale or whatever you want to do. So I'd say get up early and check for that. But anyway, so that activity will move out of Oklahoma City around, what he said, about 11 o'clock in the morning. So if you have anything to do outdoors in Oklahoma City area, the metro, you know, we're talking to everybody, Norman, El Reno, Guthrie, just kind of that whole section. From about 11 in the morning through about 5 in the afternoon, 4:30 for sure. It's going to be dry, and you'll be able to get some stuff done. Once we head into 4:30 to 5, kind of that's when the window starts to open up as far as storms moving in from the west. One of the models is kind of early with the arrival. The rest of them have been way later. Matter of fact, let me look at that other model for the timing real quick, what it had to say. What time was that? 7 o'clock. Good. Okay, so my prior thinking was 6:30 for the Metro, even though one model had like 4 or 5 o'clock, I think. So big difference between 5 and 6:30, if you're trying to schedule an event or finish wrapping up something. So point being is from about 5 to 8 o'clock will be that window for those storms to move into central Oklahoma. They'll have a tendency to die out as they approach I-35 and then points east because they're going to run into more stable air, and they've left the suitable environment for producing large hail, damaging winds, and a potential tornado. So anyway, I do expect to have a couple of isolated supercells break out in west central Oklahoma and then move into central and south central Oklahoma. And those have potential for producing a tornado or two. So that's something I'll be watching for and tracking live for you. And then after that, like I said, they're gone. Northern Oklahoma, we'll see around in the evening hours from 6 to 8, kind of for you guys up along the Kansas state border. Could see a tornado up there as well. Otherwise, some hail and a little wind. And then everything's quiet for Sunday. And then Monday, like I said, is a mess. And we'll figure that out tomorrow. Okay. So hopefully that was a good recap. So you guys are wanting rainfall totals. Now, that's where it gets interesting for Monday. Because remember, the flash flooding threat was highlighted for Monday. We could get up to, some of the models are going between 4 and 8 inches of rain. But if they change their structure in the environment to less of a flash flooding threat and more of a severe tornado threat, then that kind of changes the outcome as far as the overall, production of precipitation, therefore the amounts. So that one's still up in question. But all the prior data up to today had always said flash flooding event with some embedded tornadoes. Some of the data today, some of it not all, is starting to lead more toward tornadoes and less about the flash flooding. So, but again, we're still early, so we'll talk about that later. But I will show you the map for rainfall totals for this weekend, for Saturday basically, for Saturday morning. And then that way you'll know what's shaking. Let me see. What map do I want to show you? Let's show you this one. Hang on there, kiddos. Okay. Computer's running slow tonight. Let's pick up the pace here, CPU. Alright, just give me the internet. I am piping 3 live feeds all at the same time. So that might be a problem. Okay, so rainfall totals. Where are we? Here we go. Alright, so let's take a look here. So, interesting output here. So for tomorrow, the model likes a favorable training environment, a very narrow corridor, and this is anywhere from some of this gray areas up around 3 to 4 to almost as much as 8 inches of rain. Good grief, just in this one little area, this one little stretch. This is north of Ada. This is south of Tulsa, up around Muskogee, and then kind of pretty much along I-40 out towards Shawnee, and then back down toward Norman is where this little hot spot is. Now, this hot spot can move a little north, it can move a little south, or it could not even exist at all. The take home here is that there's potential for some flooding or flash flooding, even for tomorrow, in certain parts of the state. You can see in the west, the take home is not a big deal at all. Here in central, actually, not too bad, with the exception here of some part of central Oklahoma. Right now, it's got the south side of the metro down toward Pauls Valley or something like that. And then this northern Oklahoma is for late Saturday evening, so some heavy rainfall there. So anyway, so there you go on the rainfall threat for your Saturday. And then Sunday or Monday, like I said, is going to be a little different with that. Let me see what I can do with that. I don't think I've looked at this in a while, so we'll see what Monday looks like. Okay. So we'll go through Tuesday mornings. That'll cover the Monday night storms. So it also has some heavy band here from the Saturday event. But you can see how it's shifted to the south compared to the other model. But the signal there is still the fact there'll be a band of heavy rain. So again, that's your take home. Plus, it does have some areas up around 7 inches of rain. So again, your take home will be flash flooding in some small areas within this band. The secondary round coming in on Monday is 2 to 3 inches of rainfall out here in west central Oklahoma and even the metro. And of course, you have the heavy stuff combined from the 2 events here in the north, which is up around 5 inches of rain. So that's another model output there. We'll go to the new version of this one. This is the American model, which has been tweaked. And it's got the bulk of the heavy stuff of 7 inches plus in southeast Kansas. Still has that little band, but it's even farther down to the south and not nearly as much. And then we have the other band here, 2 to 3 here in central. So on all of these models, the take home here for Monday is a lot less rainfall than it had before, because it's trying to shift more toward a different profile in the atmosphere, which would favor more severe weather versus the flooding rainfall type deal. This particular model kind of splits the difference. It's got some heavy bands here in the south, 2 to 3 inches of rainfall. Here's that heavy band up north. But otherwise, nothing too crazy. So it's also trying to shift more toward the severe aspect versus the flash flooding threat. But yet I look at the same model a different time period, an updated version from 6 hours later, and it's got some pockets of some 6 to 8 inches of rainfall here, and basically right along 412 east and west from Tulsa all the way west to the Texas border. So, like I said, that's your take home. Is there's going to be spots of some ridiculous amounts of rain. They'll be difficult to show you exactly at this point in time, but someone's going to get some flash flooding out of it, and someone's going to get several inches. And so that's kind of how I would leave it, as far as getting too specific at this point in time. That should be specific enough for you. I mean, what else are you going to do with that information? There's nothing you're going to be able to do with that other than be aware. And if you're in some kind of a planning stage, like a government official or whatever, you're already aware of this because you've been talking with the National Weather Service and all the other government bodies. You guys are all planning ahead as far as what to do on letting the gates open and lakes and rivers and streams and all that. Okay. There was one thing I wanted to do for tomorrow morning. Hang on here. I just want to look at something real quick. So I want to plot a sounding for tomorrow morning. And this is why I said, you can possibly still get a tornado tomorrow morning, which is a really odd time of getting one. Conditions aren't perfect, far from it, but they might be adequate enough to get a freak occurrence. So the shear is there as far as direction and speed. Again, not as good as it is later in the day, but it's at least something is there. What we call a storm slinky doesn't have a great look to it, which means the photograph isn't clean. The photograph is up here at the top right. So that's just because the winds kind of do a little too much of this waving at different levels of the atmosphere. Once you get from here to here, there's too much discontinuity. So that's what I'm saying. It's not perfect, but it's probably enough to generate a weak tornado or a brief tornado or something. So that's what I'm saying. I'll be up tomorrow morning just in case this does happen. And then we'll be able to track it on radar. Otherwise, it's going to be a big cluster of rain and showers of storms and probably pockets of some hail and pockets of some wind thrown in there. So there's always something to look at. I can sit here and just look at weather all night long and pull up different stuff and go off of that. Okay, let's see. Some of my patrons, I took care of your rainfall questions. And Jill, I just answered your question. Alright, so you guys are caught up. Tricia is asking something that can't be answered. Dana's on it. Tara's asking if storms will be during school hours. Too early to give you specifics like that. Sharon, I'm reading your comment about the TV guy. You know, it's a deal. I'd like to say a lot more, but I don't. Because in the end, you guys are going to watch whoever you watch, and, you know, you're going to make up your own mind. So me preaching to you is not going to change that. You're just going to have to kind of come around your own as to, you know, where you want to go for your information. And most of you, which is fine, go for many sources, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just the ones that really irritate you or cause anxiety, I'd probably just quit watching. If that were me, at least that's what I would do. Let's see. Christy, you're welcome. You didn't get a notification for Facebook Live, but you did get one for YouTube. I was watching that. Good. So, Christy kind of pointed out what you guys need to do. I kind of changed how things work on my YouTube interface with my weather app. My weather app, I've got a live stream tab on there, and I had it going to my website, which then pulls in my YouTube. So it was a convoluted process, and if my website got slammed from too many people watching all at once, it'd go down for a minute, and then it'd take a while for the servers to kick in some new hardware to get it back up so the rest of you guys could watch. So it costed me some minutes there, and it was getting frustrating. So what I did is I changed the link to goes directly to my YouTube page when I go live, and then there's actually a chat box on there, and you can do that. But on that page, on my YouTube channel, you guys, you need to sign up first off. If you haven't done it, go do it now. And then hit the notifications bell, which is what she did. So that way, when I do go live on there, you're going to get notified. And unlike Facebook, Facebook is a turd. You guys have no idea. On my end, Facebook is a turd. If on your end it's a turd, well then on mine it's a double turd. A big double turd. So, but on YouTube, they'll notify you. They don't play games on that for whatever reason, which is fine. It's great. So if you want to get notified when I go live, get that on there. That way, at least you'll know. Now, you don't have to watch it on that version if you don't want. You can join here on the Facebook page, but at least you'll know that I'm live. So it's a way to circumvent Facebook from not rewarding you for your bad behavior or punishing you for your bad behavior. However, its algorithm's going to work for you. So it's a way to work around the system of what we have. So check that out, and that'll be good. I've had a bunch of people sign up here lately. It was because of the channel. I never really promoted it, which is kind of sitting there. I didn't, since I used it through my website, I never really had a reason to say, hey, go to my YouTube channel and watch. But I've changed all that now. So now I'm telling you, go to my YouTube channel and watch. And then, of course, you got this version as well. And in either case, what I would do if I were you is I would put this full screen on from your tablet or your phone to your television. A couple ways you can do that. Like with my phone, it's an Android Samsung. So it's got Mirrorcast built in, which basically takes whatever's on my phone and pipes it to my smart TV. And I use a Roku box for that. But there's all kinds of interfaces you can use for that. You can use Chromecast, Apple AirPlay to do the same thing. You can even use the apps on your TV itself, like for the YouTube app. You can pull that up. You can watch my live stream off your TV Smart app from YouTube. So there's many ways to be able to do this, and in that way you get everything in 720 HD. I can do 1080p on YouTube, but Facebook won't allow you to do 1080p. It's still at 720, but you're not going to notice, I don't think, any difference. But you can play around, see which one works better for you in that case. Then you can see this mug on an 80-inch television and just scare you to death. So this is another way of getting your info. And some of those can even do like picture-in-picture. So that way you can watch the other guys at the same time and then go, why would I ever watch them? And then go right back to me. So, no, actually they do serve a purpose, and I actually like them because I can see their helicopter shots, which are actually pretty nice for me. Let's see. Randy, Weatherman on TV just said tornado outbreak Monday. Well, from what I heard, There was a weatherman on TV that said tornado outbreak tomorrow. It was a classic tornado outbreak, the worst we've seen since 1913 or some nonsense like that. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. So I wouldn't put too much stock in anything anyone says at this point in time when it comes to tornadoes. Just wait till the day before and then the day of, and we'll let the chips fall where they may. Sorry, there's a little attitude. There's still a little attitude out there. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. I thought those Tulsa guys were behaved. They wouldn't say stuff like that. I'm gonna have to make some calls over there. Tell those guys to settle down. So, but I showed you what the weather, stuff looked like for Monday. I showed you what that looked like, and then so at least you know what they're looking at. The problem is the message from the messenger, and not toning it down, knowing that most of the time everything changes. But here's where I got to tell you though. There's an old saying that a broken clock is right twice a day. Well, if you're Chicken Little and you scream the sky's falling, well, guess what happened? At some point, the sky's going to fall, and you're going to say, "See, I told you." And they're going to be right. And you guys, well, you're going to forget about the other 20 times he said the sky was falling, because all you're going to remember was the last time the sky fell. But he called it. He said the sky was going to fall. I'm like, yeah, y'all said the sky was going to fall every day of the week, of every month, of every year. But, it was a deal where if you don't say anything at all, and then something happens, that's far worse forgivance than to, say something's going to happen and it didn't happen. It's just the way it is. It's human nature. So you're always going to have people that, err on the side of caution, meaning that they go overboard rather than not go strong enough. So they would rather go that way and then be wrong versus not say anything and then all of a sudden have something, like a tornado outbreak happen. So that's why it's always tornado outbreak, tornado outbreak, tornado outbreak. Well, great. Like I saw some comment. There's two things I saw tonight on social media, on Twitter, irritated the piss out of me. One was a screen capture that said large tornado. It was the teeny tiniest tornado I think I've seen all year. And I want to see somebody actually tell the truth for once and just say teeny tiny tornado. No, we gotta say large tornado. So what is a large tornado? Well, according to this picture, it's about 30 yards wide. Now, what I would call a large tornado would be a mile wide, half mile wide, maybe even a quarter mile wide. But 30 yards, that's not a large tornado. That's a teeny tiny tornado. So I would like to see some honesty out there. It just doesn't exist. So that was one thing that chapped my hide today. What was the other one? Oh, the other one going, yeah, just as we predicted, tornado outbreak everywhere. And it was from the same tornado that was chased by about 1,000 different chasers that all took a picture from 1,000 different angles and all posted the same tornado. Yep, that's a tornado outbreak, And I'm just like, oh. So sometimes the wording used from these guys get so excited, just gets under my skin. I mean, come on, man. You don't have to do that. So that's what I'm saying. Just, you see that stuff on social media, just move along. Just go, okay. Yeah, that's a big tornado there, buddy. And just move along. That's what I'm going to have to do. Otherwise, I'm going to be like that hater on there just going, it's a baby tornado, you idiot. But I'm not going to do that. I got too many other things to do. So, anyway. All right. So, I've been on here for an hour now. I got to get up early just in case, we actually have a tornado or something. So I can be lucid and get my coffee in me. Let's see. I'll scroll through any more comments here, and then I'm out of here. Lindsay saw the mug in person. Eddie instantly been scary. Well, that's some truth to that. Oh my goodness, Sharon, what did I miss? You didn't miss anything, lady. You're good. You came in just in time. YouTube channel is called it's Aaron Tuttle OK, like not the word OK, but the shorthand version of OK for Oklahoma. So just go to youtube.com/Aaron Tuttle. Okay. And you'll pull me right up. You can probably just search my name on there, and then it'll probably pull up. Susan, Gown 10 p.m. News said tornado outbreak Monday over much of the state. Well, good for him. Melissa knows what's up. She's got her anxiety reduced to a low level now. Cox Center graduation 6 p.m. Anything to worry about? Joan, well, I'm assuming that's tomorrow. And if that is tomorrow, then the answer is yes. We'll probably see a storm roll in through the metro, which could produce a tornado. The exact track at this point in time is unknown. I can't tell you that. I can just tell you it's going to be in the vicinity of central Oklahoma, in the vicinity of the Oklahoma City metro. Will it move right through town? Today I couldn't tell you that. Not tomorrow morning? No, I'll be able to tell you. And certainly by the afternoon based off the trajectory of the storm itself, for sure. But Sasha, I'm glad you enjoy that. Okay, I gotta get out of here. We've gone on way too long. Teeny tiny tornadoes. Hey, I like those terms. Honestly, remember, think about it. Toby, yeah, I'm getting a little salty, but it's for fun. I'm not being too harsh. The teeny tiny tornadoes is a reference because, remember, the majority of tornadoes, about 75%, are the EF0 to EF1. Those are the small ones. Those are the teeny tiny ones that I call. Then the ones that are EF2, which is significant, is about 15, 18%, something like that. It depends on where you live and depends on what stats you're looking at because they vary. The stats aren't set in stone. So there's some padding room, wiggle room in each of these. So, for example, the EF0 and the EF1 could go up to 80%. I just say 75 because it's kind of a middle of the road. And then the EF2 is like anywhere from, I think it was 12 to 20%. So I just say 15, And then you have the EF3s to EF4 and EF5. And that is, at worst, that I can find 8%, more likely 5%. That's a very low number of the big, violent tornadoes. So when I say teeny tiny tornadoes, I'm referring to the majority of the ones that actually happen. Christy, hey, your parents are going to do what your parents are going to do. You can't force them to sanity. If they want to get worked up, let them get worked up. Substitute their caffeinated need. They don't need caffeine. They just put on a little DL and get themselves all in a tizzy. Oh, man. So, I'm not saying we can't see tornadoes on Monday. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm not going to sit here and tell you we're going to have a tornado outbreak on Monday at this point in time on a Friday evening. A, what good is that going to do you? 2, okay, so then my follow-up question is where and when? Well, I don't know, but I just know it's going to be an outbreak. Oh, you do you? Yeah, because I'm wish casting, and I'm wishing for that to happen, and that's what's going to happen. Oh, okay. So what's your basis on that? Well, I'm looking at model data. Oh, how accurate is that model data 4 days away? Well, that's beside the point. I recognize the pattern. It's an important pattern. Okay, well, then give me some specifics. Well, I can't do that right now. Well, why not? It's an important pattern, right? You've recognized it before, right? So where exactly are they going to happen? And when they're going to happen? Well, I'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, sure you will. What are you going to do with all that? That's nonsense. I got to sign off or I get myself in trouble. What's wrong with me? Anyway, the point being is, obviously be more serious about Monday as we get closer. So, like Saturday afternoon, or excuse me, Saturday evening, when we get within that 48-hour window, and I actually can see what the whites of its eyes, timing, location, who will be affected. From that point forward, I'll start narrowing it down and fine-tuning it for you. Because if I just tell you the whole state's going to see a tornado outbreak, well, everybody's going to panic, and then if it happens in 25% of the state, you just lied to the other 75%. What good is that going to do you? So, like I said, just hang in there. I got you. If it's gonna be one, I'll let you know. I'll tell you the time, tell you the location, all that stuff. Like I said, tomorrow we'll still see probably a couple of tornadoes. So don't let tomorrow go by without you focusing on that and just saying, oh, everybody's worried about Monday. Well, don't forget about tomorrow. So again, from 6 to 8 p.m. here in south central Oklahoma, some storms moved in from the southwest, and again, the potential there is for a couple of those to develop, break the cap, and then produce a tornado or two. So that's what I'll be watching for. And if that doesn't happen and the cap holds and we don't really destabilize enough for that, fine with me. And then we all we have is Monday to look forward to. And then if Monday changes back to a flash flooding threat, well, then that's what it does. And if it changes more to a tornado event and less flooding, well, then that's what it does. Whatever it is, we'll deal with it. That's it. So, Melissa. So you get me in trouble on a Friday and Saturday night. I start going off the rails. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you. Michael knows what's up. Ratings. Yeah, this ratings period ends May 22nd. So you gotta squeeze it all in before May 22nd. Get those padded numbers up there. So, because what happens is when they do that is they can say, hey, everybody watches me. Yeah, this is the weather guy talking. Everybody watches me for severe weather season. That's what they'll sell. Because they'll have another ratings period after that. They'll take a week or so off, and then another little mini ratings. I did a whole blog about it. It's not even called a ratings book anymore. They call it, I forget what they call it, something else. It's just a change of words. But then they'll have another period, and those numbers will be a lot lower because it'll be in June versus May. And then, so what they'll do is they'll take May, and then they'll go to advertisers and go, hey, if you advertise with us during the spring storm season, look at our numbers versus channel this one and channel that one. See, now you got to come pay us a little bit more money because you're going to get more exposure. So that's why it's really important that they follow through the wall, crazy, hype train going, because they got to get that little small window maximized. So it's just all about money. It's fine. That's the business model. The only issue is for you guys is that you guys sometimes have to suffer. Now, you have to keep in mind, though, it's your choice to suffer. You can always turn it off. You can always ignore it. You can always go, yeah, whatever, blow hard, or yeah, chicken little. I mean, you guys can always do that. Some of you will choose to let them get to you and get inside your head. And at the end of the day, you would almost have to visualize it as a performer pulling a magician hypnosis trick on you, and then you falling for it. So don't do it. Just go, okay, I see you over there, dancing clown. You just dance around, entertain me. All right, I'm done. I'm going to go over here to AT to get the real scoop. Thanks for the entertainment, though. So if you take it that, it's a healthy approach, and then you're not so worked up anymore, and you have a lot less anxiety. That's my opinion. That's how I would approach it. So, oh boy, Tom, you need a tie. The bedazzled tie. So okay, so we juggled with this at work today. Channel 5 has the tornado index, which again is complete crap, which you guys have heard me talk about that already. And then Channel 4's got the bedazzled tie index, meaning if there's a bedazzled tie on, it's tornado day. I don't know what 9 has. I don't know what David does. Like I said, I don't watch them, so I just, whatever you guys show me, or tell me about is how I get this information. So it may not be 100% accurate, but I know in the past, Mr. Bedazzled, he brings that out whenever there's a big event coming. If he's still doing it, I'm assuming he's still doing it. He started doing that back when I was at Channel 5, and yeah, I said I don't know what 9 does. I got a really nice message from Gary England though last night. He watched my broadcast last night, said I did a really good job, and then he asked if I was ever going to go back into television. And I was like, no, probably not. I just lost my internet feed. Rude. Alright, that means I'm going to shut this thing down. Well, if you can still hear me, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Because I think I've lost everything. Don't know why. Anyway. All right. Listen, I'm out of here. You guys have a great night, and I'll be watching things in the morning. All right. We'll talk soon. Have a good night, everybody.